Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so of course it's draft time. We're doing homework over here, trying to figure out who's who. And a couple of guys that I just got through doing homework on were the centers that are available in the range that we're paying attention to in 47. I don't know, actually, some dudes might be available in between where we're picking our two picks, somewhere in between the end of the first round and the beginning of the second round. We're seeing some guys there that kind of profile like each other. To be honest with you, the two players that come to mind, Adem Bona and James Nnaji. Now, both of these guys profile pretty much the exact same way. I think one of them is 6'8", the other is 6'10", but they're both bona fide shot blockers extraordinaires of the highest order. Now, James Nnaji's weaknesses, I was able to watch more of his video than I watched of Bona, so I don't want to get into their weaknesses versus one another because I just didn't see enough of Bona's weaknesses. But what I can say is overall, both of these prospects would be excellent prospects to bring in if you have rim protection issues, if you need offensive rebounders, if you need a lob threat. These guys play bigger than they are. Now, I think Nnaji's 6'10", and I think Bona's 6'8", and I think there's some ambiguity about Bona's arm length. In one of the draft videos I watched, I overheard something like that. They thought he had a 7'4" wingspan. It's more like a 7'1" wingspan. That kind of stuff can definitely affect draft stock. But the eye test, Bona passes the eye test for certain. From the UCLA Bruins, they got a lot of pros this year too in this draft. They got like 4 guys. But nevertheless, you're looking at them and saying that Bona was a real shot blocker, a smart defender, stays down, doesn't fall for pump fakes a lot of the time. Ferocious offensive explosive guy from 2 feet. You know, a lot of people mentioned the dunker spot, which JJ Redick seems to hate. Yeah, that spot is a spot that you definitely put Adem Bona in and get some easy buckets. He's going to explode off 2 feet, dunk the ball hard. So I was a big fan of Bona off of what I saw. And James Nnaji is somebody who I think is really good as well, but he's a little more raw. I didn't like the footwork that I saw on the offensive end, which is not what you pick him up for. You pick him up for the exact same thing: lob threat, rebounding threat on the offensive and defensive end, shot blocking. Both of these dudes are going to average over 2 blocks a game. Both of these dudes are going to be 2 of the premier shot blockers in the league over the next 8 years. I can tell you that right now. So long as they don't have any issues with fit or going to the wrong spot or something like that, both of them dudes, we're going to see a lot on the floor over the next several years. So if you're Dallas, with their situation, you ain't got no excuses. If you don't want to pick Lively at the 10 spot, you need to get you some 2nd round picks or some into the back of the 1st round picks and grab you one, either Nnaji or Bona. But Dallas should not walk away without one of those players. If they don't get one of those guys, something's wrong. Period. So if you know, that's one thing I'm gonna say. Dallas should not walk away without one of them 3 dudes. And I think the Lakers have a bit more flexibility, obviously, if they're focused on possibly bringing in either Brook Lopez, Naz Reid. You still got Anthony Davis shot blocking there, obviously. You do feel the need by putting a center on this team and helping us with size. Obviously, it was something that we had issues with. I don't know if you want to bring Bamba back, but maybe you don't draft a center because you have him coming back at $10 million in an option. But for me, I don't trust Bamba's health. And AD, I would like to see move to the 4 comfortably. I don't want LeBron James to ever have to play center again for the rest of his career, ever. So that means we need another center on this team that is not Wenyen Gabriel, that is not a small ball 5 like Rui Hachimura or something like that. No, we need a bona fide shot blocking presence that can help us. That ain't named, Vanderbilt. You know, because Vanderbilt is a guy that we can put on the perimeter. And we don't want him guarding bigs. We've learned that lesson. So, also, I did more homework on Bryce Sensabaugh, and unfortunately, he really does have some defensive issues that are overwhelming. Unfortunately, I didn't know that when I was having this conversation. I looked at his big size, I looked at his offensive ability, and I said, that's somebody I think can help us. But now that I see some of the defensive weaknesses there, I don't know if I feel as comfortable taking him with 17 as I did before doing homework. I kind of lean into understanding that we're going to be left with whatever's available in that range pretty much as well. So if Sensabaugh is available, you know, maybe you take a look at him as well as some of the other shot makers that you want in that range. Maybe Hawkins will still be available. I like a lot of the players in that range, as you guys know. Leonard Miller seems like a smart pick for a lot of teams in that situation, and so on and so forth. But for me, it's like I don't want to pick Derek Lively at 17 when I really like Bona a lot and like other guys in the range at 17 more so than I'd like to fill a need for my center position. I can get a shot maker that's like 6'8". If I want to go Jet Howard, I think Jet Howard's value comes, it levels back up in my mind when I find out how defensive deficient Sensabaugh is. Because essentially my thing is, okay, if I'm going to go Sensabaugh, I feel better about him over Jet just because he's going to be more difficult to guard. In theory, he's heavier, and Jet is such a bad defender. But if Bryce is going to be a bad defender, then I'm out on Bryce too. I got it. It's the only reason why I would be out on Jet is the fact that he can't defend worth a damn. The boy can hit shots all day long. So, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those type of situations where it's like, look, I'm not really in the business of getting defensive deficient players and bringing them to a good defensive team so they can sap away some of that good defensive energy from us. I don't want a defensive deficient player. So now I'm starting to lean back into other players that maybe can help us in some two-way areas. And then you start looking at guys, what's his name? The other guy, Whitehead, seems to be a better fit now because I know Whitehead plays D. He ain't going to leave you getting ate up on the other end. The problem with Whitehead is the damn foot surgeries that he's had, which are super glaring to me, even though he fits the absolute need and ultimately is in the range that we need. So it's like if he's there, I might be tempted to take him based on fit and ultimately the fact that he could turn into OG Anunoby light, as to which that's exactly what everybody wants. So even if he doesn't pan out, maybe we can develop him into what he's going to be. He'll be a nice role player. We could trade him. But the foot surgery thing, getting his career started with foot injuries, that's, for me, is a problem, as you guys know. So that's why I'm sitting there. But as far as I can tell, he's also a piece that fits very well for us at 17, Whitehead. So it's a lot of guys to consider. I don't know if let me see, let me grab my name list here. The guys we were talking about yesterday, I don't know if Podziemski is somebody you take at 17, but I'm telling you that I want that player on this team. He's a real shooter, and I don't think he's going to be as expensive as Jordan Hawkins. Obviously, Grady Dick will be gone. Some of these other shooters are just not as reliable as him. Kobe Buffkin probably gone. Chris Murray, yeah, role player. Not really the upside of this guy. Nick Smith, also knee injuries, coming back. Same problem I have with Whitehead. I just don't want to get started with a rookie that has injury issues when this is the only pick I'm going to have for the next 3-4 years, possibly. So this has to be a knock-it-out-the-park pick. And I just don't know which way to go. I don't think any of these players are really perfect for us necessarily. They all have their own thing at this range. None of them are superstars. But I just feel like the Brandon Podziemski dude, the more I learn about him, the more I realize that he's going to fit exactly what we want him to be. He's going to hit all the shots that we would otherwise want our shooters to hit. And he does have some pop to his game to allow you to kind of run him next to Austin Reeves and feel real good about him. The problem is with Brandon Podziemski is I don't want to reach for anybody. If I'm in the 17 range and he's supposed to be taking the 26, he ain't going to be used on 26. He's going to be traded down. So I'm going to take 17 if I want Pod, and I'm going to trade down and get me 2 picks for 1. And that way I get the guy I want, maybe add Jet Howard to it any damn way. And that might be the way for us going forward, because I think the players that I ultimately will really, really want could potentially be gone. If you like them, that means somebody else like them ahead of you at 17. So it's like, who we going to be left with? Likely the injured dudes, likely the dudes people have questions about, likely the people who can't defend worth a damn, likely the people who can't shoot worth a damn. Those are the people likely going to be there. The injury guys, all that. So that's my problem with 17. I either want to trade back to a space where it's a bit more easy to pick from the list, or trade up so I can get a little more likely opportunity to get a higher level talent. That's what I want. Get me in the 10 range, man. Get that Dallas pick off of their hands since they want to trade it to High Hill. Trade with them and get that pick then we can really get in the mix and take one of the players that we probably don't have no business getting in that lottery. One of the Thompson twins or something like that. Somebody will drop to us at 10. Watch. I promise. I just got a weird feeling that Dallas is going to have a very good choice to choose from. Somebody at 10 is going to be wildly great, and they're going to have a choice between filling a need with Derek Lively or picking up somebody that's just not supposed to be on the board. So that's what I'm predicting is probably going to be the case. So that's what I'm looking at, man. You know, I encourage everybody to go check out the video I made yesterday in regards to all of the homework that I did on the players I did it on here, so I don't start recapping over stuff we've already talked about. There's a video made with all these names I'm looking at, and we talked a lot about them, and I ain't did much homework on most of these guys since. And I still got some more homework to do on guys like Noah Clowney. I got to see more of. G.G. Jackson I want to see more of. And there's some other names, too, that I haven't even jumped into. So, yeah, we're going to be doing more homework. But I encourage everybody in Laker Nation to you know, figure out about 5 or 6 names that you love in that 17 range. Because there's a good chance that whoever you're most excited about, there's a good chance somebody else is, too. That's really the reality of it. But all in all, just to circle back to what we were talking about, James Naji, Bona, or Derek Lively. Get you one of them if you have the problems that the Dallas Mavericks have, or the Lakers. I guess we have that problem. I don't think it's a pressing need, and I do think that shot making and late game efficiency may be a more pressing need than shot blocking for us, or adding to our defense. Problem is, I have a hard time with players that only do that. I think they hurt your defense. I think they hurt your ball movement. I think they hurt a lot of things if they don't have other intangibles. And a lot of these dudes that are shot makers in this range, they can't do nothing but you. That's the problem. And the dudes that do everything else can't shoot in this range. So it's like, you would probably be best to trade the pick. You would. Now that I'm looking at what I'm looking at and I'm thinking it clearly, and I'm like, depending on how the draft is shaping out, if we get to 15 range and we don't like what we see, I think we should be on the phone trying to shop the pick. I really do feel that way, man. I really do feel that way, because at the end of the day, we have a win now team. We're going to have to wait on whoever we're bringing in. And the players that I most likely would want to choose, injury issues, man. I already got that starting this season with Bron and AD. I don't want my rookie to have injury issues too, with this being the only pick I'm going to get for a while. So it's like, nah, I got to hit this out the park. I can't reach for anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. So it's like, I trust our scouts. That's what I do like about our situation. I trust them more than I trust me. And so that's why I can say, you know, I feel good. But if we were a different organization with not so good scouts, I'm like, yo, we got to trade this pick and bring ourselves something to make more sense. Picks are probably more valuable right now just because of the draft we're in, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's like, no, I just want a better pick. Better meaning either further back with more equity attached to it, or closer to where Grady's going to be drafted. And I can grab somebody in that range that everybody really wants. Or get whoever's left over that nobody took, like Anthony Black or something like that. We land Anthony Black, we hitting a home run. I'm telling you. I kid you not. You find a way to get in that range somehow, Rob Pelinka, even if it takes D'Lo to do it. And that's another thing we got to talk about with the Lakers. So the sign and trade conversation right now is surrounding Fred VanVleet. Y'all know I'm a Fred VanVleet guy. The problem is he really is coming off a struggling season, and he is a shorter player who is older than D'Lo. So if you're going to compare what we just saw from D'Lo and compare what we just saw from Fred VanVleet, they both struggle. So that's the problem. In a nutshell, I know Fred VanVleet's probably a better player for us. What I also know is we probably bringing in somebody who's going to struggle just as much as D'Lo and piss us off in different ways. Probably has the same problem. So that's my problem with Fred VanVleet as of right now. Now, if he goes back into being the Fred VanVleet that I know he's always been before some of these issues that came about, then of course I want that player on the team. Who he was when he won the championship with Kawhi, that's exactly who you want. But that ain't been who he's been. And so if we're gonna give him all this money, we better know that it's not much of a, in theory, it's not that much of an upgrade from D'Lo. D'Lo's taller, D'Lo's younger, D'Lo shoot better. So it's like there's some things there obviously you want to take a look at. Fred VanVleet is a better defender, but he's going to brick every shot just the same. He's going to have some issues, you know, that if they carry over from last year, going to drive Laker fans crazy and going to want to ship him out. So that's what I'm telling everybody. I'm on board with bringing him in. In fact, I'm on board with bringing him in when he's hurting in regards to his, you know, in a slump, because I think you can buy low on a guy like that. Same with D'Lo, but the calluses changed that conversation for me. So I feel better if the Lakers keep kicking the can on sign and trade deals. I don't think that getting rid of a struggling point guard to bring in a struggling point guard is exactly what LeBron probably needs right now. You need stability and you need young pieces after LeBron. Now, Fred at his best can very much be that piece. And again, you may not be able to get him if his value goes back up. So I can totally see where we will be happy if we get him buying low. But if we're going to pay him high price, assuming that it's just going to go the way that it should go in regards to him being an NBA champion, made an all-star team, and all the different things that he has attached to his name. If you're going to pay price for him, I'm not sure we're actually getting an upgrade from D'Lo. I'm not certain. And if you listen to a lot of Toronto Raptors fans and people who've been paying attention to Fred, they'll tell you that he's not. He ain't an upgrade. So, you know, I have to lean on those who watched him more. But what I can say is, I'm not in the business of bringing struggling people to my situation. Not with the problems that we already have with health and age, the cap situation and the changes. I don't think anything less than a sure bet is best for Jeanie Buss. Now, what's best for Clutch? Totally different conversation. But what I think is best for the Lakers and their future is to try to knock it out the park with as much young talent as possible and let the superstars just kind of do whatever the hell they're going to do, honestly. Get in where you fit in, super guys, because we need to build our team from the ground up. And we know, as long as we have enough of these good pieces, we can bring in whatever superstar we want. They're going to always want to be here. That's the reality of it. Now, if the superstars we want are the superstars we keep, all the better. But my thing is to make sure the team is as good as it needs to be to live without them dudes. At least be able to get to the first round without them dudes. And if you get enough good pieces and develop your talent enough, that's what you're going to have. That's exactly what you want. So, you know, that's why I'm kind of hesitant to dismiss anybody on this list of players that I'm looking at in the 17 range, because even though they have some this or that, they could ultimately come together to help us be that type of vision that I have for us being able to function without our stars. A guy like Chris Murray, he's not a sexy pick, but he's going to do enough intangible things on both sides of the floor to where we're just going to come together and be a better team for having him out there, as opposed to a guy like Jordan Hawkins, where if the three ain't falling, he ain't doing nothing. It's Beasley style. Bryce Sensabaugh, it's a layup line on the other end. You know, this type of stuff is just the truth. The Jet Howard layup on the other end. If the shot ain't falling, doing nothing. So it's like, do I really need a one-way player when I'm very happy with Vanderbilt? I don't, you know, he's a one-way guy. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't need too many of those. And so that's where my head goes, man. Maybe you trade down if you want a Chris Murray, though, to respect the integrity of the pick, which is something I very much believe in. Very much believe in that. I don't reach for nothing. If I want that guy, I can trade back to get that guy. So that's how you keep your value in-house. So that's what we're talking about, man. You know, Bilal Coulibaly, I've heard good things about him. 6'6", 230, another guy who has some size at 6'6", so that's interesting to me, long arms. Problem is, from what I understand, he tends to disappear. He tends to pull Troy Brown, and he'll just be jogging. And so if that's what we're going to get, I don't need another long player that looks the part but ain't going to do nothing, especially when I got G.G. Jackson on the board and all. Only thing I got to do with G.G. Jackson is just wait on him. I know he's going to turn into something. He's already something. So and you start getting back into conversations about, okay, how is Gigi a better defender than Bryce? Is he a better defender than Jet? Because I can use the shot making and I can use the 6'8" height, 6'9" height. So it's like, where do you go with this? Where do you go with this? How do you get what you need in this draft? Do you just go with a UCLA guy like Amari Bailey, a young guard who's going to probably have more upside than you think, two-way player even though he's short? Do you go with a Nick Smith, who you probably think could develop into an all-star 3 years from now? You forgot about his injury issues. Whitehead, same thing. 3 years from now, forgot about his injury issues. So that's what it is, man. Leonard Miller, jumper ain't really there, but damn it if he don't help you in every other area, including running the floor and keeping pace. I mean, Leonard Miller seems like the surest bet once again. Now that we circle all the way back around to who I think is likely to be there versus who we should take. Leonard Miller, G.G. Jackson. those guys are rising on my list. They really are. They're rising on my list. And Sensabaugh, once again, falls a little bit back down for the defensive issues. So, yeah, man, I love the range. I like multiple players in this situation. Picking just one is very hard for us. If I had a different team with different needs, this would be an easier thing. But with us and with all of the different things that come together with this being the Lakers, this pick is going to have to be a home run, man. And I just wonder if they say screw it and just trade it for something. Take it and Beasley and maybe even 47 too, and trade it for, I don't know, player A, who's really, really solid, but not a superstar, but definitely will make up a good sixth person on your list. Your best sixth guy, he comes in, boom, boom, boom. He's, I don't know, bring back Kuzma or something. I don't know. But I doubt that you'll be able to afford him. But that's just an example of the type of caliber player that I hope all of that may be able to land us. Probably not. But that's where my head goes, man. And, yeah, man, it's tough. It's, for me, as a fan, and you guys watch me enough, you know this, it's not the easiest thing in the world to try to think of winning now for me. Because in my mind, this is what's going to help me win now. Having as much of this as possible. Not the superstar route. I think superstars are needed, but they often keep you from having enough of this if they cost too much. And at the end of the day, this is what's in the finals in Miami. This is what's in the finals in Denver. And it's that other stuff that ain't theirs, as we've talked about. So I want to find as much quality here as possible, as much nerdy, intangible, providing type of players as possible. They don't have to be all that sexy. They just gotta be able to do enough of everything to make our team good enough to play good basketball without LeBron James. That's all. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.